Hello, I'm Mantastic and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be discussing about alternate accounts and how to successfully create one. So, as a little background story, alternate accounts are essentially a second account that a player creates to either play with their main account, which is their original, or to fight off boredom when they run out of stamina. There are many pros and cons to alternate accounts, and I'll discuss them shortly, but I just want to share that I do have a lot of experience playing with myself in co-op with my two accounts, Mantastic and Fantastic, as Mantastic is rank 642 and Fantastic is rank 600. So I understand what high-end co-op with yourself looks like. I may be a bit outdated with how to raise a new account because both of Mantastic and Fantastic are actually over 1,000 days old. So my progression is going to be very different than most players as I have played for a very long time. So take my advice with a grain of salt in case I overlook certain aspects or forget to neglect others. So without further ado, what is an alternate account? Basically, like I said before, it is an account that a player creates so they have two or more. So you can use this to play co-op with yourself. You can help fight off boredom because a lot of people did make these alternate accounts back in the day when pad was 10 minutes per stamina and there was a lot of boredom and waiting, so that's partially what happened to myself. However, a lot of people didn't really stick with it because it was a grind. Like, pad was a lot more grindy back then. It took forever to get a 297. It took forever to rank up. It took forever to get stamina. So a lot of people may have quit the alternate accounts and just deleted them. However, with today and the advent of co-op, 3-minute stamina, a lot of people are starting to think about creating an alternate account because they can play with themselves and everything goes faster. It's more rewarding, it's more gratifying, like instant gratification. So that is important for some people. So what are the pros to an alternate account? You're able to play co-op at your own convenience. A lot of people have criticized the co-op feature as something that is inconvenient because you have to try and coordinate with someone else. That may not always work based on your time zone, work schedule, so on and so forth. And by having two accounts, you can actually ensure that you play when you want to play. You are also in full control of this as well. That's another criticism that co-op had, was that people would get upset when their partner would make unforced errors, basically mistakes that they didn't have to make. And when you're playing with yourself on two accounts, you only have yourself to blame, so you are in full control. And I do like that aspect. That's partially one reason why I don't play too much co-op with other people, aside from not having enough stamina either. And speaking of stamina, you actually have twice the stamina to play with because you have two accounts. So let's say you did actually just play co-op or just play solo, you have twice as much. You also have twice the number of magic stones to roll because you generate a free magic stone from events on both accounts. So you can roll more, you might have a diverse rare machine pool between the two accounts. And another great feature is if the accounts are in a different letter group, like say your main account's A for Mantastic myself and D for Fantastic, I can have two different hour slots to place, say, Star Den, Star Thieves Treasure Den, or Tamaudra Infestation, so on and so forth. So I have more flexibility. I'm a bit less restricted. I just have to make sure that account has stamina, of course. And perhaps the best pro of having an alternate account is you can tell strangers that you play for yourself in your spare time. So, what are the drawbacks of having an alternate account? Mostly you have to micromanage two accounts. This is somewhat frustrating at the beginning when your alternate account is low rank because it's always going to rank up, so you're going to feel like you're wasting so much stamina. And you also have to micromanage your main account as well because you're thinking, I have to play co-op my alt, but then my main can't do the things it wants to do. It becomes a headache. Even for myself, when I'm at rank 600 plus on both accounts, I need almost 1 million experience to rank up, and it's 1.2 and 1 million, I think, for each account. So it's not too bad in terms of conflicting rank ups. Sometimes they synergize and it feels beautiful, but it is more of a hassle. You have to think a bit more on your toes, figuratively speaking. And you also need to have synergistic leaders for co-op because you can't pair Kaede with Sarasvati. It's just not going to work. But you have to find a way to have leaders on both accounts. This could simply mean you acquire Miru because she is farmable. Therefore, both accounts would have that leader. You'll have to see what you roll and plan accordingly. There is also quite a large grinding component when creating a new account in terms of, like, say, getting rank experience, team cost, your skill ups, plus eggs. is a hassle. Like, it takes time to do those things, and some people may not enjoy that. Like, it may be too much of a grind. Granted, it's easier now with co-op, but it is still a drawback. For myself, I would not want to make another account right now. I've done enough of the grinding back when there was no co-op and 10-minute per stamina, so I'm happy where my accounts are right now. And this is a problem for me. Maybe it won't be a problem for you, but I will always roll the wrong card on each account. I will never get it on the correct one. I will always get multiple new bays on Fantastic and never one on Mantastic, so on and so forth. It's just annoying, but it will happen probably at some point. And perhaps another downside is you have to have 2 unique devices to play co-op. I actually have a Nexus 5 for my phone, and I have an iPad mini, which is very outdated, and that's how I play with myself. So you can't play on one device. It's just not going to work. And perhaps maybe the biggest drawback of all is the names Mantastic and Fantastic are taken, because you gotta sound kind of cool when you are playing for yourself. You can't just say like your main account's name is XYZ and then your alt account is XYZ alt. It just doesn't sound as nice, but that's just my opinion. So this is basically a little checklist for creating an alternate account, and I'm going to basically go into depth about what each one of those means. So like I mentioned before, you have to have a second device that can play Puzzle & Dragons. You can't swap between apps when playing co-op on one device, otherwise it causes a disconnect, so therefore one device doesn't work. And I think there's a lot of issues of having 2 devices on one account, on one phone or device. I don't know if it can work, so you need to have 2 devices. And that could be the biggest hurdle for most players. So if you can't do that, it may not be feasible to actually play a pad and have an alternate account. Wasting stamina on your main account. This is going to happen when you're raising a new account, because you're going to have to play dungeons that are irrelevant to your own progression on your main account just to raise your alternate account faster. I like to obviously try and go quickly, min-max things. It's just part of my personality when I play video games. I just want to be efficient, and to be efficient on your alternate account, you're going to have to waste stamina on your main. That's something you have to accept, and it may take you a couple weeks to bring your alternate account up to an acceptable pace. So your main account's progression may suffer at that point. But to be fair, not everyone is as gung-ho as I am of going forward fast, so on and so forth. But just keep that in mind. And speaking of your main account, you need to have your main account be of a reasonable amount of power, because you are going to be trying to carry your alternate account through content. And in an ideal world, you want to actually have the capability of at least beating Legend Descends in order to get awoken materials for your alternate account. And this may be done through either leaders that have unconditional multipliers, so you just simply ignore the fact that your alternate account doesn't really have a multiplier and just play through. You can either have button teams for certain dungeons, that does work, or you either have leaders who have very, very high multipliers, so you can just simply power your way through it. It may not be feasible for everyone, but you hopefully have some way to carry your account. That's the main thing you have to keep in mind. Like, the stronger your main account is, the easier raising an alternate account will be. And you have to understand this is going to be a grind. Think of how long it took for you to get your main account to where it is. Yes, with co-op, you're going to go faster, but it's still going to take time. You have to accept the fact that it's going to be a grind, but the reward at the end is worth it. I can take my word for it. It is worth it. And you need to acquire a reasonable starting monster. And I say reasonable because the rules are a bit different when starting with an alternate account, because you are being carried, and you do not need to have a starter monster that is good from the get-go. You can get a monster that has a strong evolution or comes into their full power later on, because you are going to be carried. A good example is Shiva. Shiva is very weak in his starting forms. Like, the multiplier is 1.5 times. It's kind of insignificant. However, his awoken form is quite powerful. It is 30 times attack. Yes, it's not a top tier leader, but I'm using this as an example to show that you can start with a Shiva, have your main account use a fire leader as to carry you through, clear content easily, and then you'll eventually have awoken Shiva, and then bam, you have a strong leader. You are skipping a lot of the early games, so that's why you don't have to have like the perfect start right away. So you pass this checklist. What do you do now? So these are somewhat in logical order, but you may jump around here and there. So you have to obviously start out playing normal dungeons, and you're going to play these normal dungeons all the way to the point where you either unlock technicals or hit a wall in your progression, because these have to be played solo mode, so your main account has no way to help. Thankfully, these normal dungeons are very easy to clear, and you can still, to a certain extent, piggyback off your main account's high-level leader. You just pair with them and blow things up. So once you hit that wall, you switch to technicals. And then in technicals, you can actually play co-op, and this is where you can progress further. The initial technical dungeons you don't need to play co-op in because they should be easy, but once the technical dungeons start to get hard, start playing co-op, and bam, life is easy again. So play the technicals until you hit another wall, whether it's through co-op or solo, and then go back to normals and start playing them. You're going to go back and forth, gaining basically magic stones very quickly. Another thing you should do is try and acquire this plus 100 team cost badge. This is going to be a huge factor in propelling your alternate accounts progression forward, because you don't have to worry about using evolution materials as subs. You can now use real cards that you may have rolled from the rare machine, and this is going to help a lot when you're progressing. And the first badge is very easy to acquire. Some of it can be done in co-op, some is normal, so just do it quickly. Like, do it at the, I guess, while you're doing your normals and technical dungeons. You will unlock it pretty easily. Now, next thing is challenge mode. Challenge mode occurs at some point, I forgot when, but you will unlock challenge mode at some point, and it's another way to get free magic stones. This has to be done in solo mode, and to access challenge mode, what you do is you try and play a dungeon solo, scroll to the bottom when selecting a friend, and hit challenge mode. From there, you're able to select 5 friends as subs, and you have your own leader's leader skill. So you effectively only have 1 leader, but you have 5 very powerful subs. An easy way to get lots of magic stones. It's fantastic. Next is special dungeons. And for the most part at the beginning, you want to ignore these special dungeons unless you absolutely have to play them for, say, an evolution material or something along those lines. These can be done in co-op, but I would ignore these and just focus on getting magic stones to bolster your account. The only exception to this is the limited time rewards or gift dungeons. So experience of a lifetime, obviously play that. Or say challenge dungeons where you have like the challenge 1 to 10. Try and go as far as you can. You might only get to 3 or 4, but it's rewards that will be lost if you don't play them. So play those, and that's the only time you should be playing special dungeons, in my opinion, at the beginning, because all the other descends will rotate back, so there's no real rush to clear them. You have time, it's going to come back, so just ignore the specials for now outside of the gift dungeons or the limited time challenges. Finally, you should best friend yourself. You'll probably be hit rank 50 very quickly due to the experience of a lifetime, and I highly recommend you best friend yourself because you'll have access to 3 different leaders in solo mode without having to actually refresh yourself, as well as you get bonus PAL points when playing co-op or solo, so it is beneficial. And there is a best friend reset coming up soon, so you may, if you're fast, be able to best friend twice. So, after you complete kind of like the early stages of raising an alternate account, you should hopefully have acquired enough magic stones to roll in favorable godfests and determine kind of where you want to take the direction in terms of team building. You might have rolled, say, like 8 times since doing all the early game stuff for alternate account, and you should by that point have some idea of what direction you want to take and how you want to synergize with your main account. And at this point, you should look at clearing descends to unlock those awoken evolutions. I would ignore descends that do not have any value to you because they may be challenging and they're going to rotate back anyways. So focus on the ones that give you the monster boss drop, who can be used to evolve your monsters. That's what you should be focusing on. You should also start farming hourly dungeons. To be fair, the most significant one is probably going to be Tamadra infestation, so you can get Tamadras. I guess like Super Kings and Kings are important as well, but Tamadras are important because those awakenings are going to make a big difference. And you shouldn't really be needing to level up your monsters beyond level 50-ish, because you kind of gain diminishing returns at that point. You're better off leveling up other cards at that time. And then plus egg farming. This may sound daunting because you may not be able to beat very many descends. However, if you are able to acquire Goemon, which is very doable because it's easy to send, playing Monday Dungeon, which you already are, you get all these nice ogres, you can actually form this Mech Dragon push button team. I'm not going to play this video because it'd be like you're watching a video of me watching a video. That's a little weird, but it's in my post. You can take a look at it. Basically, you're buttoning through all of Mech Dragon with ease. If you have Beach Goemon, life is easier. Main account has better skill boost monsters, life is easy, so on and so forth. It's an easy way to get about 5+ eggs on average in about 70 seconds, plus good rank experience for your alternate account. So, now that you've done all that, what is the point of this? What is the viability in today's meta with alternate accounts? And the simple answer is co-op reigns supreme. Co-op or multiplayer is the most efficient way to play Puzzle and Dragons at this point. This is because you gain the access to half stamina used. You have 4 additional subs, which do grant 4 additional awakenings in terms of the shared ones of skill boost and skill bind resist. You also have 4 more actives than you did, and the health of 4 more subs. So everything is stronger, and even though Gung Ho did release this badge system, it's not enough to bring it on par. Maybe if solo mode had gained the half stamina benefit, then it'd be on par to the extent that like system teams can work. But for now, co-op is the strongest option in terms of efficacy and power. So having this alternate account is going to make your life a lot easier. You will start progressing further than you thought you could. And this is great, as well as being able to play twice as much because of the half stamina. And a lot of my own progression would have been a lot slower if I did not have co-op and Mantastic always by my side. So this alternate account is going to be very valuable down the road once you finish investing into it. Now that everything is up and running, congrats! Like, you've done a great job. You've done something miraculous even. Like, you can obviously hasten your progress through IAP, but that's a decision not everyone likes to do. But you can do this all on your own. Just have to be intelligent and try and be as efficient as possible. But once you're at this point, you can start, I guess, enjoying Puzzle and Dragons for whatever purpose you want. Everyone plays pad for different reasons, and for myself, I'm not as fond of the whole grinding aspect as I used to be. I've done so much of it that I'm a little dried out, and I kind of want to enjoy playing Arena 3, as well as streaming. So for myself, I'm happy where my 2 accounts are. Like, they're in a very good place. They're strong, they're powerful. I guess I would like to have more rare machine options, but that will hopefully happen in time. So hopefully the alternate account is going to bring you more happiness, and it'll also make your life easier, as well as giving you a new challenge and something else to do. So hopefully you enjoyed this article, hopefully it's informative, and maybe it inspires you to create a second account. Let me know what you think about the whole alternate account in today's meta, and whether or not you've created one or plan to create one, and what are your goals for them. So let me know in the comments below. The article you see here is linked in the description below. Have a fantastic day, and happy puzzling!